to the recording week 2 of Mobile App Portfolio 2. We're going to get started with a recap and just look at what is in the Blackboard shell for this week. So I'll share my screen there. Cool. All right. Everyone can see my screen? Yes. Okay, cool. So I'm just in the weekly learning week 2. So if you click here on the left-hand side, weekly learning week 2, everything is in there. Some of this stuff is hidden from you guys because it's just for me, like the lesson plan and whatnot. But basically, everything we're going to cover today, I can give you guys the lesson plan if you want, but it's just more of a note for me so I don't forget anything. So if you remember from last week, there was that document I got you guys to download for brainstorming. Now, if you weren't here, no worries. You can just do it today or after class or something. It's not going to take you a ton of time, but it just requires a bit of thinking. So if we go back to weekly learning in week 1, so it was this brainstorming template. So if we download that, it may ring a bell if I open it here for you and you just see what it looks like. Basically, all that is on Blackboard is the submission of this document. So listing all the possible options. So Varun, you weren't here, but basically last week, if you want to watch the recordings, we covered the system development lifecycle of building an application, how you have the 5 main phases. You have like the inception phase where you have an idea and you research the idea and what your competition is. You come up with what your competitive advantage is. And then you move into the design phase where you do your wireframes and your modeling and all that and your prototype. And then after the design, you go into development. After the development, we go into stabilization or deployment, one of those two. So you either deploy it and then you stabilize it and offer like updates and support, or you do like beta testing and stabilization first, and then you do a final release after all your QA. So basically in this course, remember guys, we're going to be building our portfolio. We're going to be building our brand, and we want to go through the SDLC with an app that we're building, either in another course or another app that you're building for this course. So what we wanted to do is brainstorm or come up with that inception phase of some ideas that we wanted to make an app with. So last week we just got you guys to fill out, there's 10 options here, 10 spaces to list all the ideas that came to your mind. Ask yourself some of the questions like what problems they could solve, what other ideas you could think of, and then just pick your best ones, right? So just submit that document for today's lab. So in week 2, right there, it's that first thing, lab 2 brainstorm document. Please submit the completed brainstorm document from week 1. It should have at least 2 or 3 solid ideas, and then the other ones, they can just be like whatever you rhymed off. So you'll probably use this document in class today, so that's why I think it is due today at midnight. For those of you who just landed and just got in and weren't here for the first week, so I know it was just 2 of you guys, you can email me and we can figure something out for a due date for that, unless you feel comfortable doing it tonight. So cool. So just do that before the end of class. Any questions about that? It should have been something that we all did anyways, so it should be done already. And then you can just add it. All right, so this little section here, I want to type together just as a little recap. I like to kind of work together, have a discussion or an interactive session talking about what we covered last week. So just speak up or type in the chat. I'll open up the chat here. What did we learn last week? What material did we cover? What topics? For those of, we can also help out those that weren't here. Okay, UML, Harshil said. Okay, what is UML? What does it stand for? SDLC, says Dhruv. Yes, awesome. What do both of those things stand for? What are they, if we were to define them? We went through PowerPoint and we covered SDLC. We went through PowerPoint, covered UML. What type of UML did we cover? I showed you on a website how to make a certain type of diagram. What type of diagram did we make? Unified Modeling Language is what it stands for. Yes. Unified modeling language. Okay, awesome. That's a good start. And we made use case diagrams. Awesome. Okay, cool. Thank you, Mithun. So, what aspects? Yes. So they are used to show how a system works. Perfect. Okay, what aspects? Yes, like an actor. So, what aspects of a use case diagram are there? So, Harshal said there's an actor. Actor plays the role of the user in the system. The use case, which basically are scenarios or methods in the system. So with that ATM example, remember an actor was basically a user or a customer of the bank, and they could withdraw money. And the withdraw was the use case scenario, right? Withdraw, deposit, all that stuff. Okay, we also covered includes and extends by Mithun. Nice, thank you. Mithun includes and extends relationships. Now, if you don't remember how the includes and extends relationships work in week one, there's those diagrams, right? But does anyone remember? Oh, awesome. Drew said it too, includes and extends. What is basically the way that the includes and extends relationship works? So there was two examples. There was one example, remember, that there was a car, a tractor, and a bike. And then one of the things was starting an engine. And it only went to two of them. It only went to the tractor and it only went to the car because the bike doesn't have an engine. Was it the includes or was it the extends? Who remembers? It was include, yes. Because include means basically in order for us to start the car, in order for us to start the tractor, we must include the other scenario or the other use case, which was starting the engine. So if I just open up, let me just go to my Blackboard here. I'll show you guys quick for those of you who weren't here in week one. We can look up. This is what I'm talking about. So here's your user. Your system is down here. Normally there's a box around it, so this is not a great example, but we have three use cases: riding a car, use case 2, riding a bike, use case 3, riding a tractor. We can see use case 4, which is starting an engine, and it's required. We can read this little note. It's basically required by riding the car and riding the tractor, so we have an includes relationship. But the bike doesn't have an engine, so it's not included. Okay, which means that the extends example for like Instagram, you can upload a photo, you can upload a video, and then you can extend and apply a filter, but you don't have to. It's not necessary, right? It's an option. So that's why it's extending, because it comes off of both of those. Cool. All right, so we learned about includes and extends relationships. We learned about use cases, and they basically are scenarios or methods in the system. Use cases also, like use case diagrams, so they're used to show how a system works. Another note that I wanted to make of is that we can use them, we can use these to bridge the gap between a technical explanation of what our idea is used on non-technical people. So if you were going to do like a business pitch or you were working with a team and you wanted them to understand how the app might work, we use it to bridge the gap between technical and non-technical people for business. Okay, cool. So there were systems, actors, use cases, and relationships. So relationships was one, use cases was one, actors was one, and then the last one was the system, which basically is what it sounds like. The system's what you're developing or the website or the software, right? Mithun said login feature for making the transaction is an includes relation. Yeah, because you have to log in order to make a transaction. Cool. What else did we cover, guys? Anything else that we are missing? What's SDLC? For those of for your classmates who weren't here last week, what is SDLC? What does it consist of? What does it stand for? Feel free to Google it if you don't remember. Go back.
Software development lifecycle.
Thank you, Rohan. Okay, cool. Software, oops, I'm in caps lock. Software development lifecycle. And I'm going to change these bullet points to number points. Whoops, do that. Number one, what is the life cycle? I just listed them earlier in class.
Inception.
Inception, yeah? Keep it going. Who knows the next one?
Design.
Yeah?
Development.
Development. Okay, someone help them out. Oh, there you go, Harshil.
Stabilization.
Stabilization, stable. And I do stabilization or testing. Yeah, great, Mithun. And what's the last one? Once it's ready, deployment. Thank you, Harshil.
Maintaining or uploading on a store.
Yeah, so deployment, uploading on a store. Okay, maintaining would probably be part of this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. And you can kind of go back at any point, right? It's a cycle, so it works like a circle. So you can kind of go back at any point if you need to go back to the inception phase and come up with new ideas and then redesign them. And say you're in the development phase or say you deployed, you can kind of go back to the stabilization and testing if you come up with a new feature. So cool. All right. Have we talked about, let's see. I'll leave that for now. Okay, so I'll submit this, and this will be on Blackboard for you guys. So it's right there as a little bit of a recap. So if you ever need to come back here and read what we did last week, it's right there. Cool. So PowerPoint 2, PowerPoint for week 2 is right here. I'm going to open it up. Just a second. PowerPoint week 2. And we can go through it. You can download it if you want to keep along. So we talked about use cases. This is an example of what a use case looks like. An extend and includes relationships. So every time you sneeze, it's basically impossible to not close your eyes, right? So that's why it's an include, because like just like how you start a car, you have to start the engine. So every time you sneeze, you have to close your eyes. It just happens. Next time you sneeze, try to keep your eyes open. It's impossible. Extends is more so like something you do afterwards. That's optional. You say excuse me or bless you or whatever. Usually something that we do to be polite, right? So you'd want it to happen every time, but sometimes people don't do it. So excuse me is an extend relationship after a sneeze. Cool. All right. And there's an example of a banking app. Again, customer, bank, all these different options for logging in, checking the balance, transferring funds. Pretty simple, okay? Nothing crazy there. So I want to talk about another type of use case, activity diagrams. Some people said they worked with activity diagrams before, right? I think. Or no? Did anyone have any experience with activity diagrams?
Yes, sir, I had.
Okay, cool. What did you use activity diagrams for?
Sir, it was like a flow diagram,
And what was
showing
that?
showing the process, how the app would be, like how the website would be or something.
Yeah,
Like from where it is gonna start and where it will be end.
totally.
Like yes,
The order flow, right? So what was the app that you had the activity diagram for?
I created a online mobile store website during my bachelor's.
Oh, awesome. That's great. Hey, that'll be like pretty similar to what we end up building in this class probably, but that's pretty sweet. So it actually hosted the app packages on the website, like the
Uh,
APKs.
I built it via the Bootstrap framework and the C# language in the backend.
Totally. Yeah. But could they actually download the app? Like if I went to that page, could you actually download an app from that page?
I didn't hosted it or something. It was just a basic website.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Well, that's sweet. Yeah. So activity diagrams, represent the action or the flow in the system. So kind of like a flow chart or a data flow diagram. It also is used to describe the steps in a use case diagram, but in the order that they happen, right? So use cases are good for like putting out on paper everything that can happen, and then activity diagram takes that and then puts it in the correct order. It's usually sequential or concurrent, so they can happen one after the other, or stuff can happen at the same time and it can split off. You'll have a beginning and you'll always have an end state. So the beginning state looks like this. So just for notation and symbols, if you guys ever see or make a activity diagram, keep these in mind. So this is the start point, because you're going to make some activity diagrams in this class. This is the start point or the initial state. It starts with a little black dot and an arrow. And then you go to an activity. So much like a use case is like a basic round shape, the activity would be the same thing as like your use case. So you would have this start point attached to the very first activity. And then from there, you would use action flow arrows, also called edges or paths, to illustrate the transitions from one action to another. So say you have multiple actions, you'd have an arrow going here, then you'd have an arrow coming off of it going to another activity, and so on. Now, object flow refers to the creation and modification of objects by activities. So an object flow arrow is the same thing, same arrow, from an action to an object, meaning that action creates or influences the object. So very, very similar to like an activity to an activity, except this is if it's creating a class or an object in your program. Cool. The diamond is a decision or a branching symbol. So what you'll see a lot of times is the line will come into the top arrow there, and then it will split off from the sides. You'll have like basically yes or no. And then depending on the answer, what happens, you go one pathway or another. So if it's like login successful, yes, no. Here we'd show a bad pin error message or whatever, and over here we would log them in successfully. So here's an example. The guards are kind of like the yes, no on that branching symbol, right? And then you have the subsequent actions that happen depending on what guard path is taken. Cool. Synchronization is basically, can you guys see this? I can zoom in a little bit. Synchronization is basically when you have like a node that splits. So you have a fork node. So if you imagine like a fork that you actually eat food with, your fork goes from one path into four usually, right? Like it goes up and then splits off into four. So here we have a fork node because it comes down from one path and goes into many. So this one, in this example, it's just two. And then you have a join node, which is this line. And those two paths are merging back into one, going down into this activity at the bottom. Cool. It's all pretty straightforward, but if you have any questions, please stop me so I can explain it. This time event kind of looks like a little hourglass that you flip over with the sand in it that goes through. So that's why that represents the time event. And it just depicts the flow of time or something. So if there was something that has to take like an hour to process or whatever, you would just use that before it goes to the next activity. Merge event brings multiple events together when they're not concurrent. So if you had something coming off of decisions or other activities, very similar to that join node, we can merge all back into one path. To send and receive signals, so if it's like from a web server to a database or something, you can have this little added arrow, an indented arrow on your activity. So a signal was sent and received. It's getting into the nitty-gritty details now, so don't worry too much about these little ones like an interrupting edge. So if something is canceled or interrupts the flow, then you use this lightning bolt. Cool. Swim lanes are these dashed lines going down. So you might hear me refer to swim lanes. So we have the customer swim lane, the order swim lane, accounting swim lane, and the shipping swim lane. And basically, we can see this activity diagram. So here's the dark start node that we talked about, and each of these blue circles or ovals are activities. So we can see it goes down to placing an order. And then from the customer, it's going to split off of this fork node. Remember that line is our fork node. At the same time, so this is happening synchronously, right? We're going to receive confirmation. So the customer will get an email back. But at the same time, Now we move over to the order swim lane, and that order is going to be received by whatever the manufacturer, Amazon or something like that. And then it's going to go into accounting and process the order, and then shipping, and they're going to pack the box. All of this is happening at the same time that the customer receives that email, whatever. They're going about their day, you know, doing whatever they want. Comes back from shipping. We're going to record that shipping process in accounting, ship the order, and then merge back in the customer swim lane when they receive that order, right? So a bunch of stuff can be happening this time. The customers, you know, it's not all instantaneous. The customer would receive that order, then pay the bill, and then it will go to accounting to close the order. And then this dot here is the final state or the end point. It's like a circle with a hollow circle around it. It's the final action state. Okay, so you don't have to use swim lanes every time you do an activity diagram. You can just make them like this. So here's another example of an email connection, and there's no swim lanes. So it just depends on what is more helpful for your specific situation. We use UML to communicate to people that don't necessarily understand programming in the business world, and we want to have like a team meeting, and they want to understand like, okay, the customer's going to do this, then the ordering department's going to do this, accounting's going to do this, and it just gives a really good visual so that people can all be on the same page. Is everybody cool with that? Everyone's got any questions?
Sir, can you please explain that Swimlane again?
Swim lanes?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So swim lanes are you just basically use them to group related activities into one column. So everything that happens under the customer's perspective, I guess you could say, the customer's perspective or the ordering department perspective, anything that happens in their uh, group or an activity that's related to the accounting department would happen in that swim lane going down. So accounting's only responsible for processing orders, recording the shipping, and closing the order. So we can see that as the program goes through that order flow, and it's going to take all its different pathways, we can kind of keep track of like which group the activities are related to. Does that make sense?
Yes,
So
sir.
yeah, we just use it to basically group related activities into a column, a specific column.
Yes, sir.
Cool. So this is an example without swim lanes. So if you were going to establish an email and send an email to someone, so we can see our start node, we establish an email communication. So you write the email, and then here we split off and we fork. So you can either at the same time you can send an email, you can also receive a response or receive an email. So these things can happen at the same time. So when we send the email, let's stick on this path on the left. We send the email, there's going to be a decision, right? That's what the diamond means. There's going to be a decision. So if there's private content in the email, we're going to encrypt it. Okay, and then you can see they have a subsidiary activity diagram here for how the encrypting works. So you can do that too. You can nest activities inside one another. So this is like a high level for the email connection, and then you could have another diagram for how to encrypt it at a lower level. Okay, after it's encrypted, we rejoin right here, right? That's the merge. Now, if there's no private content, so else, so it works like an if else or like a yes no, then we'll just send a regular email. We don't need to encrypt it. Okay, and then we come back down and we join here, and the communication's established and that email is sent, right? Now on the other side here, if we're going to receive an email, we receive a response. We're going to wait 2 hours after we send an email, right? So you don't want to send a response right away. For some reason, let's just say you got an email from, I don't know, from me and you don't want to respond to it right away because you're doing something or you're busy. So we use that time, the hourglass, remember, to indicate that there's going to be a couple hours that are passing before we respond. So either you're going to reply and have a valid reply to my email, or there'll be no reply and whatever, it'll error out. The program just finishes here because you never replied to the email. And then once that email's sent, same thing, communication's established, and we emailed back and forth. Cool. So that's just showing the decision branching, the time element, some fork nodes. Yeah, and in this example, there were no swim lanes because it's all kind of happening from one perspective. Cool. We already talked about this one. Sweet. Okay. See. Okay, so I wanted to ask you guys. You guys had Mustafa for your first semester, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Um, so this was, I just wanted to see. If I come here in course information, I go to the course outline. I look at, I just want to know where you guys are with some of the stuff. That's the wrong one. One sec. So you guys did mobile app portfolio 1 with him. Did you guys build a website to host your mobile apps?
No, sir.
No? Okay. Did you publish, or not publish, did you prepare to publish an app on the Google Play Store at all? Or Apple App Store? You don't actually have to publish them, but did you guys like start getting ready to do any of that?
No,
Okay. Um,
we made an
and
app, but
then
we did not prepare to publish it.
did he cover domain name registration at all? Or web hosting?
No.
Yes,
Okay.
he actually explained Namecheap and all, how we can register a domain name.
Okay, but you guys didn't actually end up doing it. Like you just kind of watched.
Yeah.
Okay. So no one has any websites or any domain name registered right now currently? Is that correct? If I said
Not yet.
okay. Okay, so yeah, so if we look at the learning outcomes from your semester 1, I just want to know, I just want to make sure I'm picking off or up from where you guys left off in first semester. So these kind of are backwards, so I'll start with the last one. So research, design, and develop a mobile app idea. Did you guys do that with him at all?
Yes.
You did? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys all should have, they were group projects though, right?
Yes.
Okay, you're saying that, right? Okay, and then completing a development cycle for mobile applications. So did you guys actually finish developing those ideas or did you kind of start developing them?
We just started developing them, I think so. Because we gave the presentation of our application, like what are the screens, how it's going to work, and we gave our app idea, and we used Figma app to demonstrate our app.
Okay, cool. So you guys know what groups you guys are in and everything, right?
Yes, we have.
For that? Okay. I'll get a list from him as well for that just so I can, but I may just have so I can get caught up to speed. I may need you guys to do some presentations or something so I understand what apps you guys have. So I may have to get you guys to submit, like, do you guys have PowerPoints or PDFs that explain your apps and your groups and whatnot, or do you guys have any material like that?
Yes, sir.
You do? Okay. So if I make not that it will be worth marks or anything, but it's just so I can actually get caught up to speed on like what everybody's building. If I make a submission portal in let's see, in assignments over here, if I just build an assignment and call it submit group project info from sem1, you guys can submit your stuff here. That'd be awesome. I'll just make it 1 point. This is not worth marks.
We all have to submit, or just a group leader have to submit?
One person from each group. So a group leader
Do
will
you need a
submit
code also?
material. Sorry.
Do you need a code? Code base?
Um, I don't need the code base, but if you can show me like a screenshots or a video or something of the app working, that would be really cool.
Yes, sir, because we have not done the coding thing. We have just
No, yeah,
done
yeah,
the
I
designing
understand.
thing.
Yeah, so one person from each group, a group leader will submit the material, including the initial research, design, wireframes, mock-ups, prototypes, whatever. Basically like a package of the main stuff that you have so that I can understand, okay, this is your app, this is what you researched, this is where you're coming from, just so I can get up to speed, right, with where you guys were semester one and I can understand. You know what I mean? So if you just make like a folder and zip it with all of that stuff in it, and just give me everything. And then I can like ask questions or whatever and then we can continue working on it from the same perspective, if that makes sense, right? Is there anything else I'm missing that you guys would have worked on in terms of like, if you have code, I don't need to see the code, but if you do have a GitHub link, you might as well send it to me. Prototypes, mockups, wireframes, design, research. Is there anything else that you guys would have? Or is that everything that you would have done with him?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, cool. A group leader will submit the following material so I can get caught up to speed with where each group is. Group leaders, also please include who is in your group in your submission. I'll also get a list from Mustafa though about like who's in each group, so because I'm sure he has it as well, so I can just double check. Cool. We'll also check your submission. Thanks. Awesome. Okay. No due date. Just as soon as you can send that stuff, the sooner I can kind of base what I'm going to do off of this because it changes. Yeah, that'll be here. Submit group project from semester one. Awesome. Now, where was I? Okay, so, oh yeah, I was covering this. So you did complete a development cycle, or you're currently completing a development cycle. You already researched, designed, and developed the idea. You're currently developing or going through the STLC. So you haven't yet created a website to support mobile apps? Or have
No.
you done this? No, okay. And you
No,
haven't
sir.
prepared to publish mobile apps to the online store. Okay, cool. So what I want to do with you guys, this before, yeah, normally if you guys were semester one, semester two, I would have got you guys to do this last semester, but because it's already semester two, I want to do this right away. Google Play developer license. Can you guys tell me with your groups what platform you're developing for? iOS, Android, web? Excuse me. What platforms or what languages are you guys using to develop your apps?
We did it for iOS.
Did everybody do iOS?
Like me, Hari, Harshal, and Sudarshan, and one other guy, Palak, we do it for iOS. We did it for
Okay.
iOS.
All right. Did anyone do it for Android?
Sorry, sir. It's just mistake. We did it for Android. We didn't did it for iOS. Sorry. I just confirmed with my group. Sorry, sir.
No worries. So, oh, I just muted myself. Sorry. Okay, so basically what I'm gonna do, I'll cover iOS next week, but as soon as possible. So once you submit that material, if you developed it in Android for the Google Play Store, um, I need you to purchase your Google Play developer license. It's $25. It's a one-time purchase. Only one person in the group needs to do it, I believe. Well, it would be
And
nice
no,
if actually.
sir, no discount for students.
Um, let me see.
No, sir. I'm just asking.
I don't think so. I already have a developer account, but if I just open up a new,
Excuse me, sir.
yep,
So you'd be developing the app individually or as a group in this course?
So that's what I'm trying to figure out because I'm now teaching the mobile app portfolio course and I'm teaching it a lot differently than Mustafa did. So I think going forward, I'm going to teach it as an individual thing, but you guys might be the last group that I'm going to finish off the way you guys started. So you'll develop the app. Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. Either I still want everyone to deploy it individually because that's one of the course outline requirements. So like each student will have to understand how to deploy and how to go through content rating system and all of that. So each person will need their developer license.
So we
But
have to give any test or something for that license, or
so no, you don't need to do anything. It's actually a really great purchase and it's something you're going to want if you're going to be a developer, if you're going to be a mobile app developer. So it's only 25 bucks and it's a one-time purchase. It lasts you for your whole life, never expires, and you can upload as many apps as you want. I'm trying to find out by Google Play.
So we have already implemented an app for iOS already in the last semester.
And it's on the App Store?
No, not at uploaded. We don't know like the legal side of those things. Like we have used some copyrighted items in the app, so we don't know we can upload it in the app store.
Right, yeah. So I'll cover the iOS another week, but the Google Play one's pretty straightforward. You can just buy the account. The iOS one's a little bit different. I think it's more expensive. How much to buy iOS?
It's
Because
$100 per year.
I believe it's $99 and it's per year, so you have to keep recurring the payment. Let's see here, the Apple Developer Program. Let's see. Does it say prices? So
I think
for
college
free,
provides a developer account for us.
the college bought one for you?
Yeah. So we got an invitation in the last semester to sign up
Yeah, I
in
was
the.
gonna say you should have one for free, but I don't know. Can you app distribution on the App Store? That's the one that I think. So you guys must have this one in order to do that, which says it's 99 USD. But if the college is paying for it, then that's better. Do you know? It must be this one that the college got you guys. Yeah, education institution. Okay. So do you guys know what your Apple developer like ID licenses and stuff is if we were to do that? If we were to cover that next week and how to upload one and whatnot, would you guys know how to get that information or do you not know what your accounts are?
So I tried
we
using
do
the
not know.
account in the Xcode, but it was saying some error, like some, I don't know whether we have
Okay.
access to that.
Who teaches your iOS course again?
Mr.
Yogesh
Yogesh.
Mukwana?
Yogesh?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll talk with Yogesh and we'll figure out what the membership is because I'm sure he knows. And then we'll cover how to upload to the Play Store and how to upload to the Apple App Store depending on what you're developing. So I think it'll be cool if I might try to do this a little separately. So what I want is you guys will develop it as a group still, like because you'll stay in your groups because that's how you started for semester one, right? You guys are in groups of what, 4 or 5?
Yep.
Okay. So you guys will stay in those groups and continue developing the applications and make a finished version of the app. But because you guys never got a chance to cover, where was it? Because you guys never got a chance to create a website to support your mobile apps, I'll get you guys to do the website portion individually because the whole point of this is to build a brand, right? That's what we were talking about last time. So building that brand is more of an individual thing. So when you go to employer, you want to show them like your personal portfolio website or whatever. So for example, not that mine is finished, but if I were to go to my website and I wanted to show an employer this, I don't want to have like a group picture of like 5 different people in my developer team. I want to have just a picture that's specifically of me, right? And showcases my projects. And then on that website, you'll showcase the group project. Does that make sense? So the website portion will be individual, but the development of the SDLC or the app will be a group project. Does that make sense? Any questions about that? Yeah, thumbs up. Cool. Right. So like you'll have like your portfolio, and you'll brag about yourself basically, and then you'll put all your stuff there. Okay. So I'll talk to Yogesh. I'm gonna write that down so I don't forget. So let's take let's see here. What do I want to do next? Learning. We'll take a 10-minute break because it's 10 o'clock now. We'll come back around 10 after 10. So if you want to grab a coffee, go to the bathroom. And then we're going to come back and we're basically going to start doing some of that brainstorming. I know you guys already did some of this stuff, but we're going to get a chance to use a tool called Miro, and we're going to come up with a bunch of ideas, either for your app or for your web portfolio or together separately. So we can do a bit of that. It'll be just fun to do a bit of UML diagrams and team, what's the word I'm looking for? Collaboration. It's a really cool collaboration tool. So we're going to get some practice with that. And yeah, we'll do it for our websites. Cool. All right. So we'll be back at 10 after 10. I'll pause the recording and we'll see you there. Any questions before I head out?
No, sir.
Okay, 10 minutes and I'll see you guys in a little bit. Cool. All right, the recording has been unpaused and we're back. Cool. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to keep you guys in your groups for your development. Sorry about the confusion there. Open up Miro.com, so Miro.com, and we're going to do some group collaboration. And I know you guys are going to upload and you guys have already done your research and stuff, but I want to show you this really cool tool. Let's see here. So you guys are mobile app 2, so we'll click this. Awesome. All right, welcome back, welcome back. And so here we go. Let's see what our names are. We've all got here. So I've assigned, basically, you won't have an account yet. You have to create a free account. So if you go to Miro.com, Miro.com, and sign up for free, either through Google, up here in the top right, sign up for free. Put your name in. You can put your Georgian email, whatever. Agree to the terms. You don't need to get the news and updates and then just get started now, or sign up through the Google partner, Facebook, whatever you want to do through your Microsoft account. You can do any of those, okay? Cool. So once you're signed up, I'm going to create an invite for the mobile app 2 brainstorming board. So if I share this, invite link to board and team, and edit. Cool. So if I copy this link and I put it in here, you should be able to click that board and you'll see your name has a color assigned to it here. Okay, so Rohan, you're light orange, Varun, you're yellow, Salman, you're cool. Okay, look, so we can see Patel is in here. All right. Patel Dhruv. Okay, yes. You put your last name first, I see. Okay. Yeah, we have like 3 people with the last name Patel. It's awesome. So Dhruv, you're light blue here. So I can see your cursor, which is kind of cool. And I can see who's in the board here. So basically what this is used for, and I've done this before in the past with some groups, and it's really cool. And I've used it even in my job in Toronto, with the group of agile developers. When we were like 10 of us and we were doing those multi-million-dollar projects, we used this to basically brainstorm. Miro is like a team collaboration tool. You can use it on your own if you want to do single stuff, or you can do what I did where I share and I create a link. and I have all my team members up here in the top, and I can see, you know, what color they are. So Varun is green. I'm the board owner, so I'm yellow. And then I can use reactions up here. Like if I want to give a thumbs up, I can send a thumbs up. You guys would have seen that on your screen. And then everyone, you know, you can like raise your hand if you want to raise your hand and lower your hand. All your tools are on the left here. So if you want to create text or something, you just click that and then you can start typing. I'll just, if I want to delete it, I click it and hit the delete button. It's really intuitive. So you scroll in and out with your mouse, you'll see this board is huge. And if I scroll way in, we can see this is a collaboration board from last semester when we were coming up with some other app ideas. And we put even, if I zoom way in, we put one of our use cases for one of the app ideas in there for a budgeting app. You know, someone wanted to make something to compete with Mint. All of that, and you can color code everything. I can see who makes what or who moves what. So yeah, the whole idea is, you know, team collaboration. So I can see a bunch of you guys are on here, which is awesome. So yeah, what I wanted to do individually was to come up with an app or brainstorm an app. But since you guys are in groups, maybe what we'll do is if you can type your group number beside your name so I know who's in what group. So if you just double click in there and then do a space and then type group, I don't know, come up with it. If you're group one, you're group one. If you're group two, you're group two. Whichever groups are already taken, then just be the next group. And then put your partners so I know who's all who, and then I can make you guys the same color or whatnot. Or better yet, you know, so Suhel, if you're red, make your teammates red. Rohan, if you're orange, make your teammates orange. Cool? Now, I don't know, did I lock that? No, I didn't. Okay. So just make your teammates the same color as you. What you can do is basically click this box on the background, and then the color is up here. And you can change the color salmon like that. So you would just click this and change the color. Cool. So Rohan, Dhruv, Harry are all in the same group.
Not Drew. We are just doing it. Me and Harshal and Hari.
You, Harshal, Dhruv, and Sudharsan, and Harry.
Dhruv is not in my group. Me,
Oh, his color.
me, Harshal and Hari. Harshal is again changing his color. I don't know why Harshal. Yeah.
Okay, so Dhruv is the wrong color.
Yeah, Dhruv, you are having wrong color.
You guys will know the
And
groups better than me, but I'll double check with Yoga. Sorry, not Yogesh. I'll double check with. Actually, I'll send him an email right now. Just to
so
get the groups from him.
one more guy was there in our group, but I think he is not in this semester. I have not seen in this semester. So
No worries. If we have to change them, we have to change them. Send from semester one. Cool. I'll send that email to him. So it looks like there's only two main groups. You have light blue, we have orange. Was Suhel and San, Fam, and Manish, were they in a group? Or are they
Yes,
all in their own group?
yes, yes. They three were in a group.
Okay, so I'll change them to red. So why is okay, let's see. So we have two groups of four. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then one group of three. Okay, that makes sense because there's 1, 2, 3, 12, 13 of us. One group of four, two groups of four, one group of three. That doesn't make sense if there's 13 of us. Is there too many blues? One person from the blue group should be in the red group because then it's even 4, 4, and 4, right? Mithun, Varun, Salman, Armin, and Dhruv. Is your group one too many? Or were you guys 5?
We were 5 of them.
Okay, and then they were 3. Okay, so what I want to do is, okay, so with your corresponding color, I know it's going to be a bit crazy now. You'll be a bit more spread out. So they're the red group, Suhel, Sun, and Manish. I don't think any of them are actually here, so don't worry about them. So Rohan, Harshil, Hari, and Sudharsan. So
Yes, sir.
those of you guys who are here, you guys will be the second board, this orange. All right.
Yes,
So if you zoom in here, this is going to be your board down here. Yeah. So you guys will all be the orange group. And then Varun, Salman, Armin, Dhruv, and Mithun, you guys will be way down here on the light blue. If you're looking at my screen, you guys will be the, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th board over. Okay. So if you zoom into the boards, basically, what we're going to do is some team collaboration. I know you guys have probably done all of this stuff already, but with your brand, this will help me get an idea of what you guys are building. So on the left-hand side, you can click a little sticky note, right? And you can pick your color, and each person can have their own color or whatever so that, you know, you can differentiate. But you basically will take a sticky note, click it onto number 1, and then you can just start typing. Now you might want to change the text size so that you can fit a little bit more. If I do S, if I zoom in and shrink this down a bit, font size down to like 14 or something, you know, double click in here and tell me what your brand is. Tell me what kind of company or portfolio or app that you're building. So you guys are you guys on the right one? So you guys are all over there. That's awesome. We got 4 of you, Mithun, Armin, Varun, and Salman. And then the rest of you, Dhruv, oh, you're also with them. Harshil and Rohan. I think you guys are the only 2 from your group here that are logged in.
Yeah,
You
Hari's
guys,
there.
the
we are
second
4
board.
of them.
So just start putting some sticky notes from the left-hand side there. You can also just click the letter N on your keyboard. It should just pop up the sticky note button and you can just pick a color and put it on your board. And then start just answering some of those questions. Start putting some of your brand ideas or whatever the company that you're already building and brainstorming for. Just start typing in there and moving them, you know, answer number 1 first, then number 2, number 3, what already exists, number 5, your competitive advantage, what's your logo, your slogan, what's your colors, number 4, UML mockups. So what someone can do from the group is use the Gen My Model website and then screenshot your mockup. So kind of like what I did in the example up top here is I have my mockup here and I put it, you know, in number 6. Bring to front. Just like that, right? So like on the second board here, I can put a UML mockup. So you can basically, you can import images. So you can save them to your computer and then on the left-hand side there where it says upload, you can upload your screenshot into your UML mockup section. Cool?
Sir, I had a question.
Yeah, what's up?
So I wanted to ask that, like, do we have to carry on, like, do we have to do all the things here for the app or the thing we were building in semester 1 only,
Yes.
or we can do like for something different?
So whose group are you in, Ari?
Orange one.
You're the orange one. Okay. Yeah. So what I think we're gonna try to do
Mm.
is well, let me think here. I just want to decide something. Because you guys are in groups developing already, you'll stay in the groups and do it for the same thing from semester 1. Is that cool?
No, I get that, like we are in the groups, but the thing we were developing, like all these brand ideas and stuff like that, can we do for some other app idea? Will that be okay?
Oh, like if you want to start fresh.
Yes.
Um, if you start fresh, it'll just mean a lot more work for you, and it will mean your app won't get as developed as it could have.
Excuse.
So I would like to say no. Like if you really want to, I'm not going to stop you, but if you guys have already started developing, right? From last semester?
We were not able to go in like full-fledged development mode. Like we had created a little bit of code and most of the UI. So like we can still start fresh. Like it would be better for us for something like for a fresh idea. I will ask my group first, but I wanted to ask that is that an option which we can have?
Um, let me think here. You'll have a lot of work to do. So because basically I'm assuming that the projects have already sort of been started, right? Like the research phase and the all of that has been done. So like I'm assuming you guys are already in the development phase, which is if you wanted to start from scratch, there's going to be a lot of extra stuff that you're going to have to do on top of it. Like you're going to have to do some revenue models, ad integrations, app analytics, in-app purchases, content ratings, release management strategy, on top of already doing planning, design, development, testing, and deployment. So it's up to you. Like if you can handle that workload and you want to talk to your team and redo what you're doing, but it'll be a lot more work.
Okay, then like I will talk with my team and then we will decide like what we want to pursue.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, cool.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, but basically use this because this is going to be part of a lab for you guys to upload this. So what we're doing in class today is going to be lab 3 for week 2, and I'm going to get you guys to screenshot it and upload it to a GitHub repository. So don't leave your board blank. So what you guys are doing here on the light blue board, that's awesome. Keep it up. COVID assurance, I like it. Insurance against COVID-19. So fill it out with tons of ideas. Use the arrows, use images. I want to see use cases and a diagram for a use case diagram and then a diagram for an activity diagram. So one screenshot of each for your system. And then where it says go around to 2 other classmates' boards and give helpful suggestions. So go to another group, go to the 2 other groups' boards, and then give them suggestions in that box. Then what you're going to do is you're going to screenshot this. I'll show you basically while you guys work on that. Just listen to me in the background. But I think someone else had a question, right? I thought someone said excuse me like a couple of minutes ago. No questions?
It was me, Mithun.
Oh, Mithun, yes. What's up?
Yeah, actually, I was trying to say like it's better to use the like already developed. It's ongoing development process. That would be better. It saves a lot
Yeah,
of time. So we can
like
learn what we haven't in the last semester.
yeah, I was gonna say that, Harry. So I would really encourage you not to do a new app just because like as part of the development process and everything, we're gonna be able to move on and do new stuff as opposed to like you're just gonna start something new and do the same process all over again and you won't have time to learn a lot of the newer things. So um I
So
would
in
say
the
please, please,
semester
please
we
just
could
do
not
what you already.
integrate payment in our app. So we are thinking we can like integrate payment like Apple Pay in our app this semester.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So I would say you're saying you also agree it's a good idea just to keep working on what you were working on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And because it is a group project, I understand some people get stuck with more work than others. But I'll definitely be like keeping an eye on and doing like weekly check-ins to make sure everybody's pulling their weight. And if there's ever a group member that you guys are feeling like, hey, they're not really doing their fair share or whatever, you guys, there'll be more than enough opportunity to, fill out anonymous surveys of like how everybody's doing in the group. So that's one thing with group work that I am aware of. I also do expect, so the way I've done these in the past, when it's an individual thing, is to like it's hard when you're doing all of the work, all of the design, all of the website. But when it's a group project, I do expect, a more well-designed app, and I expect things to be better built, if that makes sense, because there's 4 or 5 of you in a group. You'll have more than enough brain power, so to say, to make a better app than one person could, because there's 4 of you, right? So I do expect the caliber to be higher caliber because it is a group project, right? So there shouldn't be bugs. There should be well-designed mockups and websites and all of that. So yeah, great work here happening on the blue board. I'm gonna go check in on the orange board here. I know it's just 2 of you guys right now, but yeah, I would try to stay with what you guys already have so that we can focus on getting some of those payment and revenue models, app analytics and all that stuff built in. Cool. So you guys can continue to work and make those use case diagrams, user targets, target audience, logos, slogan, and colors. Continue to do all that. I'm just going to keep talking about some other stuff that I am wanting you guys to do. So let's see here. A few other things just before we wrap up. Okay. So there's this in-class exercise week 2 document used with Miro. If you download that, it's basically this Word document, and it's a bunch of questions that'll help you kind of come up with a brand, so to say. Now, if you already have your brand, but you haven't decided like the personality of the brand or like what you guys are going to stand for or like how you want to come across, some of this stuff might help. So like how to write a slogan, how to design your logo, how to choose the color. If your brand was a person, choose 3 of these words. So you guys are doing COVID insurance, right? Do you guys want to be a bold brand? Do you want to be serious? Do you want to be corporate? Do you want to be fast? Do you want to be outdoorsy, chill, confident? What are 3 to 5 personalities that would describe if your brand was a person, right? So I'll just zoom in. You guys will be able to see some of these. Fashionable, young, witty, confident. I would say if you guys are an insurance brand, you want to be professional for sure. You want to be reliable, and you want to be, let's see, experienced maybe. Those are 3 really good words. And then you could also want to be energetic, or you might want to be a bit more corporate. I don't know. It's up to you guys how you want to define your brand. If you want it to be like young and zesty kind of thing and have some flavor to it, right? There's this color guide too. So when you guys are designing a logo, I don't know, did you guys design logos last semester at all?
No, sir, not exactly. But we made one for our application. But that was not a logo. It was just a text-based
Like
logo. Yeah,
like an icon or something?
not icon, just a text.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so like if you want to make, we're gonna make logos in this class. We won't spend a ton of time on it, but you're gonna make a logo for your project. So you can see here like a color guide, right? Green is always associated with like health and growth and peace, that kind of stuff. So apps like Animal Planet or Whole Foods, they're green. Holiday Inn, you have like a fresh look. Orange is like a friendly, cheerful, confident color. So you have like Fanta and Amazon, right? Nickelodeon, there's fun, friendliness, right? So just use this color chart to kind of give you guys a bit of inspiration. So you can download that documents here on Blackboard. Use this with the Miro board. And then I want to show you guys an example of what I'm expecting for your submissions for next week, right? So you'll have a week to work on this, but we're going to cover a little bit of it right now. This is my GitHub. It's just this link here, the Brainstorm 2021. I want to basically see, you're going to keep all your code on a GitHub for your project, and you're going to all be developers on it. So you're going to add each other and me as a collaborator. Do you guys already have GitHubs for your projects? That's something I should ask. You already use version control?
Yes,
We
sir,
have.
we have.
We have.
You do?
Yeah.
Awesome. So are you guys pretty familiar with using branches, and like if someone else has already done a development, like you use your branch and then you do a pull request, send the pull request, get it approved, and
Yes,
then
sir.
merge? You know how to do that? Okay. Awesome. So what I want to see on that GitHub when you add me or submit the link is basically you're going to have a README file if you don't already have it. And I want to see a screenshot in your README. So you're going to have all the authors or the developers in your group, the date, and then you're going to have a screenshot of your Miro board like this. Okay. And then you're going to give a little bit of an intro about what your app is. Version control, just saying you're using GitHub and everything is here. And then a link to your Miro site, and then just talk about the inception phase a little bit. And like your UML diagrams should also be included here. They're going to be on this board, but they're going to be really small. And then they're going to be included here in the README file. Okay, just like that. So you're going to have your use case diagrams, and then you're going to have your activity diagrams also. Okay, and then here is just a little bit of an example. If you want to do like bold styling, you do 2 stars. If you want to do italicized, you do 1 star. This is just markdown language syntax. So if you want to do quotes, this is how you do quotes. If you want to do headings, lists, items, and including images, that's the format for doing it, okay? So I want to see a link to this, and then it will have the screenshots of your Miro in it, and that will be submitted next week. Is there any questions about that? Does that make sense to people?
Yes. No.
Yes,
No
thumbs up.
queries. No
No
queries.
queries. Cool. Awesome. Okay, so I was going to talk a bit about using GitHub and version control. If you guys have already used it, I'll whiz through this while you guys work on Miro. But basically, these PowerPoint slides are here for your help. You can download the GitHub desktop app and go through the tutorial using Visual Studio Code or whatever text editor you want. Here's an example of a website, so just an HTML file. And what we do is we create a branch by going branch, new branch, calling it whatever we want on that repository. And then you add a line or edit the code. So if someone were to edit your file while you're doing development and they add this line of code, you can see in GitHub desktop that that line's been edited. And then basically you're going to make a commit. So in the bottom left of the desktop panel, you hit the commit to desktop. You add a sentence about what your summary and description is of the change you made, and then you hit the commit button. Once you commit it, you're going to have to hit publish or push. So up in the top where this arrow is, publish branch, you're going to push that. It's going to push to the origin remote repository on GitHub. And then once you're on GitHub, you're going to see it has a recent push, and you're going to do the pull request, right? So if you have multiple developers, you want to do a pull request and review it. And then here we can see there's the default branch, and then there's this other branch called GitHub Desktop Tutorial. So we have main, and then we have the other branch, which is, say, a feature being added by one of the developers. And then what we need to do is open the pull requests. So you basically hit the open pull request button here from GitHub Desktop. You review what you were able to do and see if it's this check mark here basically says if it's able to be merged or not, and it will automatically merge your feature branch to the main branch. And then you just hit that create pull request button. And then basically what we can see is that this branch has no conflicts. So there's no code conflicts, and it adds that commit from the GitHub desktop tutorial branch to the main branch, and the merge request or the pull request gets approved, and it closes that branch because everything is all merged into one branch now. Cool. So I'm going to get you guys to add me to your GitHub. My GitHub is there. So to add me as a collaborator, basically you're going to go to your GitHub link or wherever your code is for your project, hit Manage Access on the settings panel. And then in number 3, you're going to invite a collaborator. And then number 4, my username, Ben Veneragon. So my first and last name. Make sure you spell it correctly or else it won't find me. And then that's basically it. You're going to add me as a collaborator. And I'm going to be looking for submission next week for a screenshot of this completed. Okay. Oops. Undo that. So basically, you're going to have all your sticky notes put here for 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm expecting a couple, 2 to 3, 3 to 5 sticky notes in each section, depending on how big the section is, with some UML mockups, some good research on what already exists, some logos. As for logo design, you can use this link, which I will put on Blackboard, freelogodesign.org. You can use this website, and you can enter your company name, so Hove Assurance.
Sir, we can register our logo by this from this website if we are taking a new logo from this.
Sorry?
We can register our logo, like if we want to register it on a platform or on somewhere, or if we are deploying our app on App Store, then it would not cause any copyright issue or something.
Oh, like if you were to take it from Free Logo Design?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I think it's fine. Let me just take a look here. I think they probably cover it in their policies. Leave without saving. So you can get your free logo or purchase a high resolution version. So it's a 100% free tool. Anyone can create. No need to go through designer. Probably cover it. I think that it's fine. Let me see. But I was just going to say use this to get ideas, right? Like you don't necessarily have to use this to actually get your specific actual logo from them. But let's see. Frequently asked questions. With the free version, you can very easily use it for your website, Facebook logo, or email signature for professional use, such as having it on a business card, or store window, or vehicle. You should use the high resolution. But what rights can I copyright it? The logos are public, but not exclusive, so you can use them for everyday business needs. With the free logo editor, the customization options are numerous, so you can create the perfect logo that'll stand out. You can copyright the logo, but in this case, please contact the brand protection agency. So yeah, you can
Okay.
use it for free,
Yeah.
but you don't need to copyright it or anything like that. Cool?
Anyway, we
So
are just using it for the reference, so we will make our own logo.
yeah, I mean, it's up to you. You can customize it, like they said, and use it for your business. I will add this web link, though, freelogodesign.org. I'll add the link there. Oh, whoops. Is that submit? So that link's in the week 2 learning as well. Here's a review of use case rules. Remember, so we have that from last week, and then the link for the free logo design will just be right above that. So yes, next week I'm going to create a submission form for your GitHub links for you guys to add me so I can see that it actually looks somewhat like wherever mine went, right here, with the README, the about, and then the UML diagrams and the use case diagrams. Does that make sense for everybody? Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Cool. Awesome.
I have a doubt, sir.
Yeah, what's up?
I'm seeing some lines connected in the Miro board.
On the Miro board?
Yeah. So
Oh, are
stick
you looking at the examples up here
in this GitHub also I can see that.
on my GitHub? Oh yeah, so you can attach things. So what, this is kind of funny. So my original way of doing this, I only had like 4 or 5 students last semester. So everyone did an individual project, but we all collaborated on the same board. So one person was yellow, which was me, and then one person was green. So all their ideas were the green sticky notes. And then what we did was I attached all my sticky notes with arrows kind of things so that I could kind of visualize what my app looked like. You don't have to use the arrows. It just is, if you want to, you can make it, So for this example, one person was this bluey purple, and their app was called Share Care, and they wanted to make a ride sharing program like Uber. And then he kind of did arrows talking about his brand, his business, a logo up there, coming down to ideas here and over. It kind of looks messy now that I see it, so I wouldn't worry about doing the arrows. Since you guys are all a group and you know what's going on, just do the sticky notes and keep them all kind of in their own boxes, if that makes sense. This looks awesome over here in the blue board, guys. Great work. That's sweet. Cool. So yeah, what I was going to say, so you got some logos started here. Cool. Don't forget the UML mockups. And I think I was going to introduce assignment 1, but I might change it a little bit because it was for more of an individual assignment. So so just as a review, you guys understand what activity diagrams are now, and they represent order flow. Okay, if you guys have questions about that, you can stop me. You guys should understand how to use team collaboration tools like Miro for group projects and businesses and collaborating. Building a brand. So you guys, this is a good blog article that I'll also link on Blackboard. On Shopify, how to build a brand, they have this cool blog, how to start your brand in 7 steps. So for you guys that already have your app idea, as you build your brand, these are important things. So you want to research your target audience, pick your focus and personality. So I want to see out here what already exists, some real research, some real, like, give me lists of companies. What companies are out there, and what product do they have, and what is similar and what is different about what you have, okay? Choose your business name, slogan, choose the look of your brand, colors and font, design your logo, and apply the branding across the business. So as we go through this, follow this tutorial, right? So as you answer those target audience and competitors, go through these bullet points. So Google your product and service category and analyze the direct and indirect competitors, and then make a list in this section. Then check subreddits that relate to your customers and eavesdrops in their conversations about product recommendations. Talk to people who are part of your target market and what brands they buy from. So ask your family, what insurance are you guys with? Oh, there's the big picture, right? Kind of cool. Oh, there you go. Sweet. This whole blog goes through this whole thing. So here's that brand if they were a person, choosing your business name, writing a slogan. They have a whole bunch of great, here's that color guide that I used. Font recommendations, designing a logo. Here's a bunch of logos, and they talk about how they make them and what's good about them. So it's a really good blog. I'll post it on the Blackboard. Web link. Whoops, not a video. So yeah, just as a little recap from today, we learned about activity diagrams, we reviewed use cases, we discussed those developer licenses. We're going to cover that next week. So Google developer license and iOS developer license, because I just want to make sure that you guys know how to do all of that stuff as we get ready to deploy an app. We talked about business logo, slogan generators, Miro collaboration. We talked about GitHub and version control systems and deploying and doing branches. Yes, and then remember, Lab 2 brainstorm document, to submit that by the end of today. That's an individual assignment, so everybody should have that. And then I will create the submission form for what we're doing today with Miro. And then the group leaders, please submit in the submit group project info from semester 1. Please submit that as soon as possible so I can kind of get on board with what you guys are doing there. Cool. I think that's basically it.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, in UML activity diagram, in our week to PowerPoint, you have used images in this first three, I think third slide. So we can also use images in our UML activity diagram, or we can just use the shapes. Like we will use the shape, but in to give more explanation, like we can use images.
Where are you looking? This one?
Yeah, this one.
Oh, this was just more of like a funny example.
Okay. So I thought that
Normally,
you have used photographs, so can we use or not? So it
oh
would
yeah,
be
no,
more.
I wouldn't, just because it might make it look a little cluttered, and with UML there's very specific guidelines you have to
Yeah.
follow. So it's like black and white rules kind of thing. So yeah, this was just more of like a funny example that everyone can relate to with the sneezing and stuff. So
Yes.
yeah, no, that's kind of funny though. Cool.
Excuse me. For the brainstorming idea, we have already up with an idea, right? So we have to
Yeah.
Yes,
find
sir.
other
Like in our
ideas
lab
in
too.
order to make the document.
Sorry. Oh, you're talking about this one?
Yeah.
Oops. The one
Brainstorming.
I was just talking about here.
Yeah, we have to submit a
Our lab.
brainstorm, right?
This one?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
brainstorm document? I know, I'm realizing that now because I didn't realize you guys were in group projects. I thought you were individual. So,
So actually, at the beginning of our project, we had a couple of ideas. So we can make a brainstorming document using those ideas and the current app we have already now.
yeah, let
Like
me
we
think
have to
here.
work on both the projects, like individual also and group also.
No,
If
we're
we are
gonna do
brainstorming.
we're gonna do so it's gonna be a group
So
project that you guys
actually,
are
we had a
building.
brainstorming in the previous semester.
It's Yeah, so it's going to be a group project you're doing. I was assuming we were going to do it individually, but I want to keep it consistent to what you guys did in semester one. So the way it's going to work is you're going to have one project you guys are all working on, but you're going to use basically the .apk or the package file when it's complete and the development's finished. So when we do a revenue model, you guys will all make your own revenue model. It might be similar, but you're going to make a revenue model. You're going to do your ad integrations, app analytics, and all of that stuff on your developer console individually. So it's still going to be a group project that you work on, but you're going to all get experience doing like the content rating system and uploading the APK file so you guys all understand how the deployment process works, if that makes sense. So like
Yes, sir.
everyone will
Sir.
work on that
So and
project. Oh,
yes, sir.
yeah,
Please
sorry.
go on.
So everyone will work on that project and you'll have like that finished package file. But then when you go to deploy it, everyone's going to deploy that finished product
Individually.
together. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then you'll all understand how the deployment process works, the content rating forms that you have to fill out, and the legal things that you have to go through to get it on the App Store, if that makes sense.
Yes, sir. But in lab two, like we have to upload our brainstorming document. Like what we all discussed for our group project, we have to upload that thing by using UML activities and diagram and all this.
So you're talking about when you do the UML activities in here?
No, for our lab two assignment, lab two in class,
You have provided a
brainstorming.
brainstorming
Yeah, we
document.
This one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, let me think here. Because I assigned this when it was just when I believed you guys were doing it individually, but because you're doing it as a group, just submit you think.
or we are submitting our PPT, our semester one PPT, so that can be counted as a brainstorm or not.
Actually, we had a brainstorming section in our research document in the previous semester. So that's not elaborated, but it's a small section. What we had
Yeah, sure.
before we
If you
done.
have that, you can submit that. That'd be cool. Because then I can see kind of how you guys got to the point where you are now. I thought for some reason that you guys hadn't brainstormed yet. So, because I thought we were going to do this all individual. So yeah, if you have that brainstorm document from last semester, submit it here. And I know it's a group project, so a lot of them will look the same. That way I can just see what you guys did. And then what I'll actually do. So
Do it
this
as a
week's,
group submission.
or you know what? No, this is better. I'm going to change this. So you'll individually submit it, even though you're working on it as a group in Miro right now. You're all going to submit. Please submit the Miro link and screenshot of your Miro collaboration board, as well as the GitHub link with the readme.md file. The use case and activity diagrams should be completed and implemented in the Miro board, as well as in the GitHub README. Please see. So for an example of what I'm looking for, it's this link. Okay, the README. Please see this README for an example of what I am expecting. Does that make sense? So what you're going to do is you're going to work on this today. And I want to see like 3 to 5 sticky notes in each section about like your app ideas, the features, logos, slogans, you know, flesh it out and have a fully brainstormed app. Okay, and I know you guys have some UML mockups in here. That's great. That's amazing. And then put it in your README, and then give me a bit of a rundown about what your app is, how you're going through the inception phase, and then your UML diagrams. Does that make sense? So that'll be this week's lab.
Can you make it a group submission? Because since we've done it as a group.
Yes, sir. That's what I was asking.
Oh yeah, so yeah, it'll all be the same as a group. Who is the group leaders? Because then that way I can just understand who's going to submit. So from here, if I were to put like a little sticky note, who is the group leader for red? Do you guys know or no? Who's the group leader for blue?
For my group, Sudarshan was the group leader last semester.
I mean, you guys can change. It
So
can
for
be
green, Benjamin, for green it is Mithun, not me. For green it's Mithun.
okay.
Yeah.
And then for orange?
Sudarshan.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, so you guys will submit, and then just to make it easy for me, you'll put your team name in the submission. So include your group members in the submission. Okay? And then I'll make that due. What's the date today? 17th. We'll make it due by next week's class. Cool? At midnight.
So only the group leaders have to submit this, correct?
Yes, but everyone has to work on it.
Yeah.
So it can't just be one
Yes, sir.
person doing the whole thing.
All right.
Yes. And what was I going to say? So this is actually kind of cool because I didn't think we were going to talk about this, but I'll talk about this really quickly. So this whole PowerPoint, this comes from a project called Systems Project in a different course, but it's actually going to be kind of relevant to what we're doing here since we're going to be doing it as a group project. I'm kind of changing my whole idea with what I was going to do this semester because I thought we were going to do it individually, but I like the idea of doing it as an agile development. So with SDLC and with app, I'm just going to talk about this quickly. With app development, there's things called agile environments. Do you guys know how agile environments work? And what scrums are? It's okay if you don't. If you've never heard it before, we're going to cover it quickly. So basically, we're uncovering better ways as we develop software in the industry to do it quicker and to do it better. So basically, Agile Manifesto is individuals' interactions over processes and tools. And then you're working software over comprehensive documentation. And then there's customer collaboration. So basically, it's like this iterative process that's really quick. So if you ever work in the field after this, you'll probably work in an agile environment. It's really intense in a way, and you do a lot of like hands-on, and you're just coding nonstop over 2 weeks, and you have like a list of things that you need to get done. And then as those things get done, you form a new list. And then the next 2 weeks, those are all your goals. And you do things in 2 week sprints, is what they're called. So what Scrum is basically it's a framework for complex product development. So if you guys were a Scrum team, right? Each team is a Scrum team, and you have a leader, a Scrum leader. It's basically a framework for complex product development. There's rules to it, and it's supposed to be really easy to understand but hard to master. Okay, so you're a self-organizing and autonomous unit, and you do things in an iterative or incremental process. So here we go. You can kind of see, imagine you have a product or your project, right? So you guys are doing COVID insurance, right? So this whole thing is going to be your product backlog. This is going to be all the stuff you have to do for development. So we have to make a login screen, we have to make a register screen, we have to implement the insurance policies, we have to get the lawyer documents, all of those things. You have all of those steps broken down into little things called stories, okay? And each story is a unit of work, and they're sitting in what's called the product backlog. Then you do 2 to 4 week sprints is what they're called, and you'll pick 10 or whatever an appropriate number from the product backlog of those stories and put them into your sprint backlog for that 2 to 4 week period. So for my team, we did 2 week sprints, and you'd pick, say, 10 stories and put them into your sprint backlog, and you'd work on those day in, day out, and finish the 10 specific items that you're committing to as a team, saying like, what can we finish this week, this week, this week, this week? What's in our sprint? And then you work on it for those 2 weeks. And then at the end of that, you have a little sprint demo, and you show the customer, you meet with the client every 2 weeks. So this is what we can do this semester. I'll technically be your client, okay? And you'll say at the beginning of the week or the beginning of the 2 week sprint, we're going to do this, 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 and this. And at the end of the 2 week sprint, you're going to show me this, 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 and this are finished. And we develop that. And then we can go like, okay, this needs to be fixed. There's a bug here. And then we're going to work on these next things. And then we meet every 2 weeks, and those finish. So that's what Scrum is, okay? So there's different roles. You have the product owner. Okay, so that's kind of like the person who represents the stakeholder or the customer. So that would be me in this case. So I'm getting you guys to develop COVID insurance or COVID insurance, and I'm paying a development team, and I'm going to meet with you guys on a 2 week basis, right? So basically, I can be part of the development team, but or I'm just involved in the development process, so I get a say in what actually happens. Then there's the development team. So typically, you know, a group of 7 people, plus or minus 2. So you've got 5 or 4. So you're a smaller team, but you're responsible for delivering the actual product at the end of each 2 week sprint. Okay, this is what I'm saying makes sense. Have you guys heard of some of this stuff before? Maybe. If not, we can cover this next week so that it will actually make sense. But I think it'd be really cool, since we're doing a group project, to kind of have this idea as we go through with these sprints and the development team. So basically, you guys are responsible for developing every 2 weeks, and you're self-organizing. So there's not going to be a ton of direction from me per se, but you're going to, in your own team, decide what tasks you take from your product backlog and put into your deliverables. And then you guys finish them every 2 weeks and move, you know, you take that section from the product backlog into your sprint backlog. Say you take 10 or 15 or 20, whatever you think you can handle, or maybe you take 1 or 2 really tough ones, and you finish them in those 2 weeks, and then they're done. And then you take another set of 10, finish them in 2 weeks, and then they're done. And that's this cycle that keeps on happening. All right. And then another role is the Scrum Master. So for you guys who said you guys are the leaders, like Mithun, Siddharsan, and whoever's the leader of the red team, basically you're responsible for enforcing the rules of the Scrum. And the Scrum Master can change. It doesn't have to be one person all the time, but typically in the real world, it is one person. But here, if everyone wants to get an opportunity to try being the Scrum Master for a sprint or 2, basically you're going to be enforcing that the project actually gets worked on. So you might not be developing, but you're going to remove the roadblocks for the development team. So say Mithun, right? You're going to be the blue team. say Dhruv can't develop something because he's waiting for a certain method or database feature to be implemented, but Armin is the database developer and Dhruv is the front end guy on the website. Okay, but he can't do whatever he wants to do on the website because he's waiting for that database feature to be developed. Mithun would basically step in and say, hey, Armin, this database feature needs to be developed. It's a roadblock for Dhruv. He can't get his work done. Armin would drop whatever he's working on, get that out of the way. Mithun would help him so that Dhruv can finish working on what he's working on. Otherwise, you're just sitting there and nothing's getting done, right? So you remove those impediments or those roadblocks, and then you're kind of that liaison for everyone in the team. So you communicate with everybody to make sure everybody's on track, they're getting done what they want to get done, etc. So we'll talk about this next week, and we'll create some user stories. And basically, a story is going to be a thing of work that needs to get done. And then you have success and failure, validation or confirmation. So if the code works, it'll turn out this way. If it doesn't work, it'll turn out this way, right? So we'll cover all of this stuff next week. It'll be really cool. But does that at a high level make sense? We'll talk about what a product backlog is, sprint backlog, sprint planning, stand-up meetings, all of that stuff. Does that make sense? If it doesn't make sense, that's okay. I'm just kind of thinking out loud as we go here, but I'm changing my, yeah, I see a thumbs up. Okay, cool. And Salman, nice. I'm changing my my take on this semester because I was under the impression we were doing individual work, but I kind of like the idea of doing group work. So we're gonna keep up with what we did in the first semester, and then we'll kind of do some sprints and stuff. So that'll be fun. We'll get some hands-on experience with that. But there will still be individual elements, so it's not like you can just sit back and do nothing. You know, if there's, I always know with group work, it's a bit tricky because 2 or 3 people end up doing most of the work and other people can kind of sit out. So there will be some stuff like analytics and ad integrations that you're gonna have to do on your own after the project's developed, so that there will still be those individual aspects, okay? Cool. I've been talking too much, so that's gonna be it for today. Any questions before I call it?
Nothing. Thank you.
Okay, I'll let you guys go. I think I have you guys at 12 again, right? So we're gonna take a break and then we'll do a web app, right? Cool. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next week for this class, and we'll see you at 12 for web app. Thanks.